So with the whole corona, you know, not the beer, the other one, the other thing, you'd think that there's nothing good to come out of this. And while I agree with you in almost every single way, 99.97% of the time I'd agree with that statement, but there might be a silver lining here. All right, you have to take the rub of the grain, some positives with the negatives. A sword is double-edged, you know. It's just what it is, not a knife. It's a sword, double-edged blade. So, as of right now, the Premier League, English Football League, and something called the WSL, whatever that is, I'm joking, all right? Women's Soccer League, Super League, one of them, I'm a dick. The English League, the footballing system, has actively postponed all match days until, I think, the beginning of April. So I think about 3 weeks. There's no football on TV or even live open games or closed off games for 3 weeks. And that's the initial review. So that might be pushed to, you know, the end of April. It might be pushed into May, depending on how good or bad the country and the world deals with Corona-chan. I'm going to say that instead because thank you, Pewds. I'm just surprised that this is obviously private, you know, it's a private company type scenario with the English Football League. They've decided to close this because it's a public gathering of hundreds of thousands of people, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of people. But like schools and colleges and universities have just decided to be like, no, we're going to stay open. I don't get that. They should probably be closed as well at this point because that's where the spread's going to be, really, isn't it? But, yeah. It's bad and good. I'll tell you why it's bad. It's bad because in this time of need, the British public need a couple of things. They probably need beer and football. That's just a fact. That's just a fact. And in my mind, my first thought would have been to try and air the games and stream the games behind closed doors, so there's no one in the vicinity. It's basically run like a training match, but it's streamed live, and people can still watch the games behind closed doors on their televisions. I think that would have been a middle ground that I think could have worked, because that way, you know, streaming rights and viewing rights would have been withheld, and all of that would have been fine. But at the same time, it's a tough thing to say anything against, because, well, they're just looking out for the health and safety of the public and everyone involved in all these football teams, when, you know, there are hundreds of people involved in every single football team in terms of the day-to-day running, the staff, the coaching staff, the maintenance staff, the background staff, the team themselves. So it's a big operation, these clubs, you know, they're businesses at the end of the day. And they may have done the right thing. But I think they've certainly done the right thing for Spurs. Yes, it has to come back to Tottenham one way or another. I'm going to get you. I'm going to get you. I'm going to get you. So Spurs have been in a terrible run of form for the last half a dozen games. And this has come at such an oddly opportune moment, this postponement in games. Because we were probably going to lose to United on the weekend. Probably. But now we have a 3-week break. That 3-week break could realistically turn into a 5-6 week break, dependent on the outbreak of Corona-chan. So, in that time period, come the beginning of May potentially, Spurs could have Kane back. Spurs could have Son back. Spurs could have Bergwijn back. Spurs might even have Sissoko back. I'm not really sure how bad the man's injury is at this moment in time. But if come May we have those players, Champions League football is free for all, man. We're back in it. So silver linings are important. There's good things and bad things. Mostly bad for sure. But I suppose if there's any light, you have to take it and try and grip onto it and be like, that's a good thing that's come of this, I guess. As long as people stay healthy and get on with themselves and don't have fights with their families, and because they're going to be confined with them probably for a certain amount of time once the government says there's a lockdown for 2 weeks. Yeah. So, good things come with bad things. You can't have it all. But it could be an interesting time, especially because Italy has had a very unique scenario with this, considering the amount of cases they've had with Corona-chan. And there's been a lot of talk there of a couple of different options going on. So one option for them to continue their season is maybe the season will continue. Very unlikely, though. They said the next one is a knockout type scenario or playoffs. So basically you decide who's relegated, who gets European football, and who wins the title on a playoffs type scenario. And with that, I don't want that, because the way Spurs are playing right now, that's not good. It will probably get relegated. And the other scenario, which is one I really don't like, is final standings as they are. So if they can't play any more games until the end of the season or till next season, potentially they're just going to cut the season now and say these are the final standings. Whoever wins the title wins the title, or there might not be a winner of the title. There might be a playoff for everyone to get European football. I don't know, but the idea that there might be final standings with still a third of the season remaining is not a good idea, because there'll be a whole legal battle inside every single federation here. Every single country will have a huge problem with their, FA, because, well, some teams will say, well, we've played all the hard teams already. We've got bottom half sides to play now, and we're only a couple points behind. Whereas teams who've already played all the bottom sides will say, well, that's just the way it is. That's just the way it is. That's what they'll say. And they've still got, like, the top 6, 7 to play, but they're still fighting for European football. So the table right now is very, very mixed, and there are some teams which have very easy fixtures coming up, and some teams that have very hard ones. So in terms of that, I think that would be a nightmare in terms of trying to finalize a deal like that, unless there can be some type of round-robin situation worked out for the top half of the table. That could be a cool and interesting thing, but I don't see how this can really work out like that. It'll be interesting to see how they work it out. I don't know how they're going to do it. But anyway, guys, that's my rambling done for the day. And if you did enjoy that, then please do like, share, comment, and subscribe to the channel down there. If you didn't, then Corona-chan herself, I don't know. It's one or the other. Maybe it's like a fluid. Oh, it's a fluid, I guess. Yeah. They'll come after you. Probably shouldn't have said that. That's a really bad one to use, but I have to say something. It'll come after you. You don't want that. You really don't, so just subscribe anyway to avoid that. Now, I have been NarendraTheComic. You have been great. I'll see you next time. That's tomorrow if you don't know. No one knows, no one ever knows. But I'm going to say it anyway because it's just what I do. I make a video every day. Been doing it for over 650 days, and I'm not stopping until we get to 10,000 subscribers. Subscribe. That would be great. It would be wonderful. I'd love it. I'd love you. Please, subscribe. Because I'll be here again tomorrow, as I said, with some more quality shitty content, because that is what I do. You can bet on it, you can bet on me to bet on more content tomorrow, and I can bet on it that it will be shitty. Quality shit, but shit nonetheless. See you tomorrow. I'll be here. I'm always here. Unless Corona-chan gets me, in which case, it's been nice knowing you. See you tomorrow. Skadoosh.